Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode from our podcast Land Talks, brought to you by the G20 Global Land Initiative. Today, we have a very special guest, Andrés Bisonó León. Welcome to our podcast, André.
Thank you, Sarah, for having me. Thank you for having S.O.S. Also, right away, thank you for all the support the G20 Global Land Initiative and the ITC YECO program has provided to S.O.S Carbon, S.O.S Biotech in our mission to keep, not only promoting our land and working for our land, our future, but also leveraging the power of our oceans.
It's always a pleasure for us.
Thank you.
So, André, would you please give us a little introduction about yourself?
I am an engineer by training. I am the CEO and founder of S.O.S. We are an MIT spinout. While living in the U.S. and working as an engineer, I saw the many challenges that we're facing, climate-related, specifically in my region of the Caribbean, my home country being the Dominican Republic, and felt the call to take action and bring my expertise, my skill set in not only mitigating those challenges, but better yet, to deploy technology innovation to transform them into global opportunities.
That's impressive. So, can you tell us about your journey as an ecopreneur? What inspired you to start, and how has the experience shaped your perspective on land restoration?
So going back to my first point, what inspired me, right? It was my home country, the suffering from our local communities. And thinking about them is also how we developed technology and mechanical systems at MIT, putting first the communities, the environment, but also thinking on the financial sustainability of the business model. With that, we developed technology that incorporates the local communities through formal jobs, so that, again, when we speak about impact, it's not just doing some good, but really putting first. These communities are in the first edge of the climate crisis, in the first, they're the first barrier suffering from the climate crisis. And the second point of your question was land restoration.
Yes,
right?
What shaped your perspective on land restoration?
So in terms of land restoration, my family, or side of my family, business has been around land and agriculture, growing tobacco. And the business started in 1903, so the fourth generation. And seeing the direct effects of the climate crisis, again, land degradation, desertification, soil health, and again, taking a step back, and as I was working in the United States, always feeling a call to get more involved in the local ecosystem of my country, of my region, to bring my skill set, my training from developed markets into emerging markets and develop a socioeconomic well-being. I started looking into how our work in seaweed mitigation, invasive seaweed mitigation, we will get there in a second, could be of value to our farms, to our soil.
Yes.
And we started working on the R&D phase of products for soil health, to improve crop yield, and to reduce the charge being used of synthetic fertilizers.
Amazing. What do you consider the top three challenges when it comes to scaling up land restoration efforts?
So the top three challenges, and also putting the hat of, being conscious of emerging markets again,
Yes.
right? Many times is the lack of resources. So that's one, the lack of sustainable products being available locally.
Yes.
Two, the lack of understanding that the transitioning to sustainable products can also translate into increased profits by reducing costs and increasing yield. And three, I would say, is the lack of developing countries to understand that emerging markets can play a critical role in climate action. So let me explain in a bit more details one by one. So on the first one, emerging markets, like us, Dominican Republic in the Caribbean, we import a lot of, I will say almost 100% nowadays of the products being used in agriculture, mostly, synthetic fertilizers. So how now we can keep increasing or change that, right? And that's one of our objectives at S.O.S, which is to leverage the infrastructure that we have in the Caribbean for manufacturing and for connectivity to developed economies like the US and Europe to manufacture locally, supply to our local farmers, but at the same time, think about the big picture on a global scale, global opportunity.
So you just start locally and then you think globally after that.
Correct.
But it's always important to relate to the area you are working in, the people you are working in, to see their needs and to see their challenges. And upon this, you design the work frame, and then you can, after that, work on a global level, right?
That's exactly it. And also understand, right, that how we can leverage the local market to be a local opportunity, right?
Yes.
So, for example, the local agriculture in the Dominican Republic alone is about 2 million hectares. So how we can also position our products in the primary, production activity
Yes.
Of the different crops being managed in the Dominican Republic, that is not only for local consumption, but also for the export market. And then from there, how we can then start looking into the global picture. And for example, for the seaweed-based products that we make, marine symbiotic as our key product, we have approximately 8 billion total addressable market at a global level.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Okay, let me ask you about your concerns and challenges, Andre. What are the pressing issues or challenges in your work that keep you up at night?
Well, as an ecopreneur, as we have been called, right, because of the impact that we delivered, obviously there are many things, right? But thinking on a priority level is always thinking how we can scale as fast as possible, because again, our land, our future cannot wait any longer. Also, how we can scale as fast as possible to deliver a wider impact to the fishing communities that we formally involved, which today we have empowered more than 120 fishers. We have already deployed operations in the Dominican Republic, Antigua and Barbuda, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. So it's how we can keep benefiting the countries, the coastlines affected by invasive seaweed as well. And on the other hand, how we can keep increasing, right, our product utilization at a global level to increase yield and reduce synthetic fertilizer use. We already showcase how we can increase yield in some crops up to 43%, and we can bring profits up to 30%. So we're really committed in scaling up.
That's great. So we talked about the challenges and we talked about the concerns. Let's talk about motivations. So what drives you to keep going in your mission for sustainable land restoration, even when faced with obstacles?
I will encapsulate it all in one word. It is the people that we work for, the people that we involved, the people that are in our network, like now with USAT and G20 initiative, right? It is the people that really motivate us to continue our work as hard as it can get many times, right? As I already highlighted, we are touching on many angles of the climate crisis through the ocean, the fishing communities, on land, through the farmers, and, in other spheres as well, like policy makers and a vast array of stakeholders. So we're really looking forward to keep expanding that impact and working hand in hand with everyone for the people.
I think the word people was the most repeated word here with all my guests.
Wow.
Everyone was talking about people.
Wow.
people, in challenges, in inspiration, in motivation. People was the very key word in all our conversations here in the podcast. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
inspiring, and
Yeah.
again, it's good to hear, right, that we are aligned in
Exactly,
that
exactly.
joint mission.
Yes, yes. Okay, my final question for you. I don't want this conversation to stop, but
Yeah.
sadly, this is the last question.
Let's make it long then. No.
I hope we could. From your experience, what is one universal truth about land restoration? I mean, what is something you are absolutely sure will happen when land is restored in the ecosystem or the landscape you are working on?
So again, through our work, we have seen many benefits incorporating our seaweed-based biostimulant, already organic certified. Seaweed-based, just for those listening, right, is a product made from seaweed. It's an extract, totally, using organic formulation. And we have already seen many benefits through the use of it, from increased yield, reduction of synthetic fertilizers. It has also helped the plants when put on the ground to have zero mortality rate. It has also helped against pests. So we're seeing an array of benefits. And with all that together, also improving the soil health. So the nutrients can be, preserved. Nutrients can also be optimized for then the plant to take them, instead of having to put excess synthetic fertilizers. And that's really what we are looking forward, right? To keep scaling the use of our products, to see the many benefits farmers and our soil can have.
Well, because I'm really enjoying this conversation, I have one last question. I promise this is the last one.
No, let's do it.
Would you please tell me a success story from your perspective on the work you're doing?
So luckily we have, given the various areas that we work with, again, from the ocean to the land, I would like to highlight two of them.
Please.
So for example, first starting with the ocean and our work around seaweed mitigation, sargassum specifically, not only in the Caribbean but in other territories nowadays being a global problem. For example, in Antigua and Barbuda, where we have deployed 4 of our harvesting systems in the ocean before the seaweed makes landfall, the client there in the tourism group has been able to avoid the use of heavy machinery on the beach. What that has enabled is we have avoided beach erosion. It has been documented that up to 50% of what is taken out in on the ground operation using heavy machinery is sand. So we have avoided all that beach erosion and economic loss. On the other hand, on the farmers, on the land, by applying our seaweed-based biostimulant marine symbiotic, I have highlighted already one of the main benefits, which is the increase in crop yield. I highlighted as well how in tomato we saw an increase in yield in 43%, but for example, in beets, we also got this week results from a farmer that he had doubled the yield on the crops applying our product.
Wow.
So very proud of the results that we're seeing in the different areas, and looking forward to keep working with all stakeholders in that mission.
Sure.
Yes.
At the end of this episode, I would like to deeply thank you, Andrea, for being with us. And please stay tuned for more and more episodes from Land Talks podcast, brought to you by the G20 Global Land Initiative. Goodbye for now.
Thank you.